chat. That's the name for now. If I can think of something better, I'll think of something better. But this is the show that will tackle a whole bunch of topics. And, we'll see how it goes. This show, like others in it, are made possible by the realm of 5. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, share. 5 separate actions ensure that the channel reaches more people. We get to grow, and we all get to do what we love. We get to do what we love. You get to watch what you love. So why not strike the like button at least? Also, if you want to really show your love and support, considering donations, those donations are in the description box below. Every little bit helps. And all donations will be aired in a subsequent future podcast. So if you can do it, why not consider it? And now that that's been said, on to today's topic. And today's topic is something is that everyone has said at least once in their lives. And that's, who hurt you? Yeah. Who hurt you? And these people, these women who love to utter that phrase, what are they really saying? And what's the causes of them? Let's look into it. The phrase "I hurt you," in layman's terms, who hurt you? Excuse me. Who hurt you? In layman's terms, this is the common tactic of a woman who is trying to make a point but not be overt about it. A guy can be angry about something. I can't believe that women act the way they act today. Who hurts you? Well, let's see. I got my notes here. Let's begin. The phrase, "who hurt you," is a woman's way of deflecting all blame away from themselves and onto their target, which in this case are men. How does that work? Well, there are 4 topics or 4 subjects that this falls into. Men are not allowed to have standards. Women are. Men are not allowed to express opinions or beliefs, but women are. Men are told to be in their feelings, but are ashamed when they do. Society in general, and social media in particular, contribute heavily to this phenomenon. Those are the 4 topics that we're going to touch. Let's start at the beginning. Men are not allowed to have standards, but women are. If you don't believe me, you've been living under a rock. That's simple. Classic example. As stated in many podcasts in the manosphere, women are allowed to have standards. He has to be tall. He has to be good looking. He has to have status. He has to have game. He has to have money. And those are just 5 things. Their laundry list for women are huge. Men want fit, feminine, and friendly. And when they express that, they get the sign language. Shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Again, it's not right. It's not fair. It's not even close to being fair. And forget about being just. It just isn't. But it is what it is. And guys have no one but themselves to blame. Yep, you heard me. Men have no one to blame but themselves. And the reason why that is because men, in general, have overcorrected. For the longest time, this has been a patriarchal society. And women have been railing against it. And when they finally got enough voices to be heard, men said, okay, I hear you. We hear you. And we're going to make it right by you. We're going to give you what you want. Thus was born Feminism 1.0. And they were given their due about the same time that minorities in general, and blacks in particular, were given theirs. Well, 1964, 1965, in that years, in those 2 years. With one major caveat. They were allowed to vote, but they didn't have to serve in the military. Men still did. I remember when I turned 17, I went up and signed up for selective service. And I remember vividly because when I went to the post office to do it, the woman looked at me like I was crazy. So you are? Okay. I gave me the paper to sign, and I signed it, and I went about my business. Didn't see a woman in sight. So they got that benefit without having to sacrifice necessary to obtain that benefit. They were not allowed to go to war. They didn't have to. And as Pearl said, shout out to Just Pearly Things, a lot of women would agree with me in this fact of saying, if they had to choose between going to war and staying home, they were staying home. I'm not fighting. No way, shape, or form am I going to do that. So, men's standards are normally laughed out of existence. They're belittled. They're swept under the rug. Which brings us to our second topic of a discussion, which are men are not allowed to express opinions or beliefs, but women are. That ties in very neatly with the first point of contention. I can say I prefer I prefer fit women. It's a preference. It's an opinion. It's also will be shamed. How can you say that? What you mean? What's your definition of fit? You wouldn't date a fat girl? She's beautiful. She's this, she's that, she's the other. Whatever. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Yet women, again, I don't want no scrubs. I want 6 inches, 6 figures, and a six pack. And no one bats an eyelash. No one blinks. No one does anything. Because we have been conditioned via society that the women know what they want and they're entitled to it. Us, not so much. I'm here to challenge that. Why? Why can you have standards and we can't? Is that right? Is that just? Is that fair? The answer to all three of those was no. Is it the way it is right now? Yes, but it's got to change. It has to change. Society's falling apart around us. And one of the main reasons why it's falling apart is because the nuclear family is disappearing. The nuclear family is the bedrock of today's society. And it's on life support right now and fading fast. I don't need a man. Sure you don't. I don't want a man, if you say so. I'm independent. I'm strong. I'm fierce. I'm a woman. Hear me roar. Whatever. If I wasn't happily married, I'd be a confirmed bachelor. I've said that before. I'll say that again until I can't say it anymore. Today's dating scene is trash. Straight up trash. Why would I want to date? I can do all that by myself. Everything that people do today, I can do. And as I told my missus, what means one time and out the door. And this is one time I can say with pride and say with my full chest, I got mine. I live in a nice house. I have two beautiful children and a dutiful wife. I don't need nothing else. I don't want nothing else. I'm one of those people that Myron Gaines, shout out to Fresh and Fit, would call an anomaly. I could fool around. I choose not to. It is what it is. I get tempted from time to time, but just as quick as I get tempted, I forget about it. It's like, oh well, yeah, she's nice, she's fine, she's cute. Okay, and you could say it's because I want to keep his mind, but I go deeper than that. I don't want it. I just don't want it. It is what it is. Next up, men are told to be in their feelings, but ashamed when they do. And that right there is one of the um, most common and insidious double standards that there are for men. Society now teaches men to be more feminine. Embrace your feminine side. Go with your feelings. Which is a direct contradiction because men are hardwired to not be in their feelings. They're supposed to be stoic. They can have feelings, but no one else needs to see them. And that's the part that people seem to forget about. Nobody says men don't. No man has ever said that they don't have feelings. It's just that you can't see them. You're not supposed to see them. And you may ask, well, how do men actually go about with their feelings? There are two places they can go. One is their partner, which Myron has said he tends to frown against because of what can happen when they do, which is understandable. Or you can go to their friends. And I would say that you can do that, but you run that same risk as you do with your significant other. They may hold it against you later on. But they do have feelings and they do show them. Just that everyone doesn't have to see them. And there's nothing wrong in that. Nothing at all. Yet you'd have feminists out there screaming that men aren't sensitive enough. What's your definition of enough? I'll wait. Oh, you're taking too long. Forget about it. We're going to something else. Look. What you do is good for you. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for everybody. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is going to be better off for it. Your mileage may vary. There's a reason for that saying. Because what's sauce for the goose is not necessarily sauce for the gander. And again, I use necessarily because sometimes it does work that way. But for the most part, not really. Our final point of contention, let me pick this up here. Society in general and social media in particular contribute heavily to this phenomenon. If you need me to demonstrate to you how that is true, you're either living under a rock or you're blissfully ignorant. Or you're just plain ignorant. You go to any major social platform today, and they'll tell you, embrace your inner feelings. Be more emotional. Don't be misogynistic. Now, Are there instances of misogyny? Yes, because misogyny literally means the hatred of women. And there are people out there who hate women. They have their reasons, either good or bad or indifferent, but they are out there. But it's now a blanket term thrown over everybody who has a viewpoint contrary to a woman's. And to that I say, why? Are you that insecure in your footing that you got to blanket everybody with a hateful statement? One thing that kills me, and again, it's shout out to Fresh and Fit because they're one of the most misogynistic people out there, is that they'll throw the word around on the panel, and Myron will be like, "What have we done that fits the definition of the word?" And he hasn't said it exactly, but that's what he's saying. If you know that misogyny is the hatred of women, what have we done to make you think that? Notwithstanding the biggest point of contention is that it's an all-women panel except for them for the most part. If we hated you, why are you here? Don't you think that being that it's our platform, if we hated you, we'd make sure that you never showed up, that you'd have no voice, no representation? So the very fact that you're there puts that point, debunks it, and makes it a lie. You're there. You're represented. What you do with that representation is totally up to you. And most women on the panel like to show their asses. But you're there. So that's the major point. The other point is, on that podcast, they'll go to great lengths. And they have two different ways to do it. Myron does it directly, forcefully, and a lot of times bluntly. Fresh will give more balanced viewpoint to it. It's two sides of the same coin. The answer's the same, they just get there different ways. One's direct, one's indirect. And one of the things that really, really drives that point home is Fresh will say, you have two high-value men, very successful, millionaires, on the podcast that are telling women what the average man, i.e. me, either can't or won't tell them. And there's pushback. Just today, I was watching a show, and I believe the topic was, I can't remember the topic exactly offhand, but Myron was saying that women can't handle the truth. And generally, and he says it, generally, women can't handle the truth. And the first thing I saw in his mouth was, I can handle the truth. We're not talking about you. And I bet you can't. Because anything that doesn't fit your worldview, anything that doesn't squarely jive with what you're talking about, will be dismissed. It's irrelevant. It's not important. Not to you. To the world at large, probably, but not to you. Why? Because it doesn't square with what you're saying. Here's an example of it. There's two people having a discussion, a male and a female. The male says females, on a whole, should be submissive, but they're not. The female will say, I can be very submissive for the right person. I'm always submissive for my man. When I'm with my man, I'm very submissive with him. What? Please explain. I just am. No. Explain yourself. Because to me, it sounds like you're being conditionally submissive, which isn't submissive, because I don't think that word means what you think it means. So again, elaborate. Well, I feel like, and there it goes. You lost. Because I made an analysis, a generality, based upon both anecdotal and statistical evidence and data to back it up. There is a study, and I'm gonna have to look it up to see what it is, but there's a study that states that 80% of women want 20% of men. And I believe it's more like 95-5. Which is a very fancy way of saying the majority of women want a minority of men. And immediately, I'll get pushback. But there are guys out there who want a boss babe. I'm sure there are. We're not talking about them, though. I feel like you're not taking everything into consideration. I feel like I am. When you deal with statistics, with data, with facts, you automatically are dealing in generalities. Society is built on generalities. True or false, good, bad, or different, they're built on generalities. Specifics come into play only when asked for. So if I said to you, the sky is blue, and you come back with me saying, what about it when it's nighttime? It's black. It's not what I asked you. It's not what I said. What are you saying? Please elaborate. Keeping in mind what my original assessment was. And that is, the sky is blue. If you have some point of contention with that, please elaborate. Now, that was a very, very, very nice way of saying it. I could just as easily say, well, you're wrong. You're wrong because scientists for thousands of years have asserted that the sky is blue because of, and whatever reasons that there are. And that brings to another fun fact about Fresh and Fit. I've been using them a lot today, and I do thank them because they're spot on with a lot of what they say. And Myron is fond of saying, I could say the sky is blue. I could say the sky is fucking blue. I can say 1 plus 1 is 2. Or I can say 1 plus fucking 1 is 2. Or 1 plus 1 is fucking 2. Or fucking 1 plus fucking 1 is fucking 2. Whichever permeation you want to run with. The point is, that doesn't make it any less true. And that is true. And that goes to tone. And tone flies in the face of social media and society. Because most people with tone don't really worry about how it comes across. Get me angry, and my tone will change. The words come out of my mouth, however, will not. They won't change. So much for tone. Tone, feelings. A woman's general argument are irrelevant, especially when they're not called for. You can feel however you want. There's an old saying, you are entitled to your own opinions, however, you are not entitled to your own facts. Feelings over facts, when it should be facts over feelings. It won't happen because nobody wants it to happen. Nobody wants it to happen. And to that, I gotta say, why? Because that's what it's worth. That is exactly what it's worth.
Aww.
In closing, who hurt you? What's it matter to you? Because the uncomfortable truth is it doesn't matter who hurt me or if I was hurt because you don't care. You're trying to score points. And that's what this whole argument really boils down to. Who hurt you? Gotcha. No, you didn't. Who hurt you is a woman's way of belittling a situation or belittling a male, to be precise. He only feels that way because somebody hurt him. Let's assume for a minute that somebody actually did hurt you. Does that make your point any less relevant? No. I say it doesn't. And matter of fact, I say the opposite. It makes it more relevant because it's now coming from a place of feeling. You hurt me. You hurt me. So I'm going to say what I got to say in defense of that. But that's not how it's supposed to go. You're not supposed to have a retort for you hurt me or who hurt you. We got to do better. Because we won't be here much longer. I can say what I want. You can say what you want. He can say what she wants. She can say what they want. They can say what they want. Unless and until there is a unified, I would go so far as to say global response in the affirmative to things going on today, it's a wrap. We are moving from the if it's going to happen to the when it's going to happen. And once we get to when, it's over. So again, do better. Listen. Engage in conversation. Take the good points. Take things that you can learn away from a conversation and put them to practical use. Accentuate the positive while mitigating the negative. That's it. People do that. And this world will be a much better place. I challenge you listeners to do just that. As I try to, and I try to because there are days where I fail miserably. I fail miserably. But I don't dwell on those days. I don't sit there and kick rocks and scream, why me? Nor do I go, why not me? Because at this point, it's yesterday. I can't change it. It is literally what it is. It's yesterday's news. It's etched in stone. Today is not, and tomorrow is ethereal. So find something that brings you joy and do it. Find common ground in your interpersonal relationships and build from there. It's not that hard. It sounds difficult because society today has made it so. It doesn't have to be. And with that, we've come to the end of yet another general chat. Thank you for allowing me into your homes or your cars or wherever you happen to be and give you an ulterior point of view, another point of view. Do with it as you will. I hope that it brings you some joy. I hope it brings you some peace. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. But I do know, and I will tell you, that this podcast is built on the realm of 5. Like, free, 1 second. Comment, maybe a minute, also free. Subscribe, 1 second, also free. Notify, strike that notification bell, another second. Share, maybe another minute. If you like it, chances are somebody in your circle will like it. Pass the podcast on to them. Give them a link. Those 5 actions, again, help us grow the channel, help us to reach more people, and hopefully gives them something else to think about. Because I'm not a teacher in the fact that I'm trying to teach you something that you may or may not know. I'm simply a guy that wants to pass on another viewpoint. Something else to think about. And again, what you do with that is your concern. Hopefully you do the right thing. If you don't, it is what it is. And with that, this is OBJ. I'm your host for this podcast. And I'm saying once again, thank you for tuning in and listening. Peace be with you and yours. Take care out there and enjoy your day. Bye now.